Get ready to dive into the unique situation the Baltimore Ravens have found themselves in with their star quarterback Lamar Jackson. We're going to look at the most likely outcome of this scenario and why the Ravens may have been playing a very unconventional solution for years. But before I dive in, let me take a minute to encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up with all my latest NFL videos and theories I have coming up. As each day passes, Lamar Jackson's future with the Baltimore Ravens becomes a little bit more unclear. The rumors swirling around suggest that Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed contract similar to the one Deshaun Watson got in his 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract, even though he got that in the midst of several sexual assault allegations. Pair that with the fact that Lamar Jackson's finished each of the last 2 seasons injured, it would make sense that he would want a fully guaranteed contract. And even though Ravens coach John Harbaugh and their general manager Eric DeCosta have been publicly saying that they expect Lamar to be on the team next year, the situation is quickly moving towards a separation. Now, the team still has several options that they can employ to retain Lamar, or they can go a different route and try to benefit from his departure. Despite all this uncertainty, it appears that we're moving towards a foregone conclusion that Lamar Jackson will be placed under the exclusive franchise tag. And at the time of me recording this, he hasn't been tagged yet, but I wouldn't be surprised by the time you're watching that he is. Regardless, being on the exclusive franchise tag means Lamar Jackson's going to make $45 million this year. And this really gives him 3 options. The first option is to play on it, make his $45 million this year, and delay free agency for another year. His second option is to not play this year for the Ravens, in which case he sits out the entire year, but he loses his $45 million. His third option is to demand a trade away from the Ravens. Oddly enough, a trade appears to be the best solution for both Lamar and the Ravens. For Lamar, he could be able to negotiate his fully guaranteed contract with his new team, which the Ravens appear to be refusing to give him. On the other hand, the Baltimore Ravens would potentially be in line to get significant compensation for trading him. Consider Deshaun Watson again. When the Texans traded him to the Browns, Houston got 3 first-round picks and additional assets from trading him. In the end, a trade appears to be the most probable solution for Lamar and the Ravens, as it presents the closest thing to a win-win scenario. But what if I told you that the Ravens were actually planning on trading Lamar since the end of the 2021 season? At that time is when the Deshaun Watson trade happened, and when he negotiated his new contract with the Browns. Again, 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed. At that point, Lamar Jackson would want the same thing. At which point the Ravens knew they wouldn't be able to retain him because they didn't want to give him a fully guaranteed contract. And having seen the compensation that the Texans got for trading Watson, I'm sure the Ravens were interested in trading Lamar as well. However, you may be wondering why they wouldn't trade him in that offseason and wait a whole nother year. Well, the obvious answer to that is there simply weren't good enough quarterbacks in that year's draft. Consider this. The Ravens trade Lamar last offseason, get 3 first-round picks in return. They can then use those 3 first-round picks to trade up in the draft into the top 10 to get their new quarterback. The only problem is there weren't good enough quarterbacks last year. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback taken in that draft, and he wasn't taken to the 20th pick. And by the way, that's the latest the first quarterback has been taken since 1997. So it would be worth their while to wait 1 more year. Also consider this. In week 13 this year, Lamar Jackson suffered a grade 2 PCL sprain in his knee. Now, typically a grade 2 sprain has a 3 to 4 week recovery range, which would put Lamar in line to start their Week 17 game. But he wasn't able to meet that timeline. But that's okay, because a 5th week of healing would allow him to start the season finale against the Bengals with a chance to win the division on the line. But he missed that game too. Well, they still made the playoffs, which means Lamar got a 6th week of healing, often twice as long as the healing period for a grade 2 sprain. But guess what? Lamar Jackson missed the playoff game as well, when the stakes were at their highest. I mean, you'd have to imagine that he would be out there even if he wasn't 100%. I mean, look at Mahomes this season. He had a grade 2 ankle sprain, and he played on it the same day that he sustained the injury and throughout the playoffs. So you're telling me Lamar Jackson's sprain was that much worse than Mahomes, where Mahomes plays on it the same day and Lamar Jackson can't play 6 weeks later? Now, this might appear really inconvenient for the team and Lamar, but what if we look at this from a different lens? What if it's actually really convenient for the Ravens? Suspiciously convenient, in fact. What if they were intentionally holding him out of these games, even when he potentially could have played, in order to prevent further injury and keep his draft stock as high as possible? They could then place him on the exclusive franchise tag this year, Trade him for 3+ first-round picks. Use those new picks to trade up in this year's draft in order to get their new quarterback. And unlike last year, this year is loaded with talented quarterbacks. It all seems a little too convenient, doesn't it? But you be the judge. Do you think the Ravens have been planning to trade Lamar Jackson for years? Do you think they held him out of games at the end of the season in order to keep his draft stock high? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest NFL theories and videos I have coming up. Until next time.